Everyone dreams of living an uncommon life, and the best asset you have to achieve your dreams is you. Welcome to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. We're going to introduce you to people who are living uncommonly. We're also going to give you some tools and strategies for building wealth and for pursuing an uncommon path that is uniquely right for you.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. I'm your host, Philip Ramsey.
And I'm Aaron Kramer.
Thanks for tuning in. We're two financial advisors that are quirky and uncommon. I don't know what else to say. But today we are going to talk about this whole financial services industry. Holy cow. We're going to pull the veil off of it, how we build a practice, how other people build practices. This might give you a little insight about how we think just inside our head. We hope this is beneficial. Maybe it's just going to just be kind of informative, but it'll be good for Aaron and I. That's kind of what we do this podcast for anyway. Sorry to be selfish about it, but that's where we're at. So
I think it's going to be good for people just to understand, like, when you're selecting an advisor.
Yeah, I think that's valid too. So maybe this could be more beneficial than I thought it could be, but I thought it would just be kind of fun to be able to just process through how companies start in financial services, maybe even how agents or advisors start in this business. And I think one of my points that I hope is communicated here is it's not easy. This is not an easy industry to get into and stay in for a couple of reasons why we're going to talk about. But okay, so let's talk about it. There are two ways. Let's just talk about how you get into the industry at first, right? So normally people are like, hey, I want to be in financial services. And they normally kind of shack up with a bigger company. They're called broker dealers. They're called captive agents. Let's talk about Northwest Mutual, Mass Mutual, New York Life, Principal, Raymond James. Now, I don't know, and I can't speak for all financial services, but what I will say is the way that I got into it was Principal Financial Group. I'll just say it by name. And they wanted me to get my life insurance, my health insurance, my 63 and my 66. So those were the tests that they wanted me to get licensed for. Here's why I think they wanted me to get this. Because there's other licenses that you can get and take that lets you have access to a little bit more things to provide for your clients. But Principal's big model in that time was life insurance. Like, they really liked life insurance. They were heavy on life insurance and mutual funds. And all those kind of like licenses that they were asking me to get allowed me to go get those things. Now, they said, hey, we're going to give you 4 months of a draw, meaning they'll pay me money every month. It was $4,000. I'll be super transparent here. Every month for me to then go kind of train and then talk to my family and friends. In that time, what I found was, one, I was told that I can make $100,000 in this industry very quickly within a very short amount of time, within at least 12 months. And what I found was I believe that you could do that. But in my conscience, I didn't feel like if I wanted that money, I could sell the things that were the best for our client, for my clients, for the people I was sitting in front of. It was very product based. It was very, hey, here's life insurance. Here's a variable universal life, VUL. Here's a permanent policy. Here's an IUL. Yeah. Here's all this stuff that I don't know. I don't know if that was really helpful or beneficial to the client. It was like, it's kind of plug and play. Like, hey, you have a client. This is what they need. Make sure you get them to be emotionally connected and then make them cry because their husband, you killed him off. Do they have enough life insurance? Like, oh my goodness. And another thing that they were really trying to train me to do was, hey, how much of disposable income do you have every month? Because that's the kind of planning that we're going to use. Okay, so if you're saving $500, we're going to take $500 and then we're going to make sure that you're going to be in a better place when you retire. Ugh, barf. Ugh. Barf. And I just didn't like how they were like trying to use my family and friends to like get in front of them to make them cry. I was like, I don't want to talk to myself, let alone my family and friends. Like, this isn't good. And so
you're selling.
Yeah, immediately I was like, something isn't right here. at least the way that they did, like for my conscience. Now, this might work for other people. It just doesn't work for me. And it didn't work for you, Aaron. So let's talk about how you got in
Yeah.
the industry, just the overarching, like your career path. Go for it.
Yeah, I got brought in. So I told my uncle I wanted to be in the business, and I love him. I respect him, and I would love to have a practice like his and practice like him. But I didn't go with him. He's all the way out in Cedar Rapids.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go interview around, and like you, it was like you can make $100,000 in the first year or 2 years, and then guaranteed 5 years, and it's like, oh my gosh, wow, okay. Went through a couple people, found the guy that I thought it was good for me at the time. And yeah, same deal. It was like you ask them how much money they have left over every month, and you split it up and you put the majority of it towards like a life insurance policy. And then you put the rest of it to like a Roth IRA or something, and you're on to the next person. Like it's just you're not spending any time with people. You're just telling them what they want, and then you're dying them off, and you start finding out real quick, like you're not having relationships with anybody.
No, right. And one thing that I told myself early on in this industry is like, I'm never going to lose a friend over this. Never lose a friend. And so that was probably why I was super reluctant to go in my family and friend's house and be like, okay, now I'm going to kill you off and sell you life insurance. That just wasn't my personality. So the problem, I think, with that model is, there's sometimes people do need life insurance, for the record.
Yeah.
But maybe not everybody that you go talk to. And the reason why they push, maybe not the reason, that could be too harsh. One of maybe the reasons why they push that you sell that is because you get an upfront commission. Therefore, you get more money up front instead of a trail-based or a long residual trail that like a Roth IRA would do, right? So we can talk through that. So there are two things and two ways that financial advisors can get paid. They can get paid upfront, meaning they get a bigger amount of money early, but then they don't get any more for the rest of the time they're in that relationship. This is a very product sale for people.
Yeah. So to go into that, though, for our listeners to understand this, like when you're an advisor or an agent is with a company, like a bigger company.
Yep.
The advisor really makes the majority of their commission of that first year.
Yes,
right?
That's right.
And then like the payout, I mean, the people ahead of them, they get their cut, the company gets their cut. Well, then beyond that, the advisor or the agent's not really making much more money, but who is making money? We all know insurance companies are rolling it in. So that hence they love you going to sell your term life insurance, your permanent life insurance policies, because the agent's done after the first year for the most part. He's not surviving on anything.
Yeah, right.
Off that ongoing, but the company is rolling it in. They love that guy was a peon, sold the policy, they're cashing in on it. Go sell more, right?
Right. So that's the reason why I think a lot of early on advisors that get caught up with like a more captive agent or dealing with these more big shops get caught up in more commission-based information, this first-time commission. Although the power, I think, in this industry, or I think almost all industries, if you can get a residual or a trail on monies that are in there and you get it over time, that is the power of financial services. That is how you build a great practice, is when, we're getting paid probably a little bit more than last year because the account grew. Now, the amount that you get paid up front is dismal compared to the commission. It's maybe like 10% or even less that you would get paid. And that's, I think, a big misconception of people. Like, hey, I'm going to give you, I got a $25,000 account. Like, we barely make any money. Like maybe $12 a year. I'm not even sure. Like, just not that much money. Although we'll help anybody. We'll manage your money. No problem. But we mainly do it because we want to help. Not because it's like, this is a cash cow for us. Now, so that's now how businesses build companies. There's two ways. You can build it with a trail-based, very slow at first, but as it kind of adds together and keeps going every year, that grows to something big. Then you have this other thing of like, hey, we just want the upfront commissions. We want to get as many people as we want to turn them and burn them. We just want to sell them something and we hope they go away. is kind of the way that I look at it, because you don't get paid for anymore after you take this upfront commission. So when they come back and be like, hey, I got a couple questions, you're like, dang it, I'm not getting paid for that. Well, because you took it upfront, you didn't take that long-term trail. So if you know anything, or you've listened to our show for at all, you realize that Aaron and I value relationships. We value serving people. And so we have made a conscious decision to get paid for as long as the relationship is intact. And that means that we just focus on trails. We want a trail-based business that is focusing on taking a small percentage of the accounts that we manage, because we want to have a relationship with people from now until the relationship ends. And that's normally because the client's like, hey, I got something happened, or hey, I'm going somewhere else. It doesn't happen much, but it does. And so that's the way that we want to have a business, because it's way more in line with how we sell and how we think, is we want relationships for as long as we can keep. We value that.
Because in this line of work, because we both saw it when we were coming up in the line of work, you got people that are money hungry and they love the chase to get that big commission, sell somebody on something, and I think these people truly believe that they're doing the right thing, because if you can't,
I think you're right.
That's bad. You got to be able to go to sleep at night. So they trick themselves. They put walls up to make sure that they do this. But the problem is, like I saw, like here, I'm like acquiring all this knowledge to be of service to my clients, because I want to be a resource for them. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, right.
And then I have clients calling in, asking questions, and it's like I'm getting like, I just feel so bad, because I'm like, I can't sit here and talk to you for 30 minutes or an hour, because I got to go get more people, like, because I got to get another policy sold, or I got to go find a new client. Where on this side, when we are fee based, it is harder to build, it's a lot slower, but that person is paying you ongoing, and you get to actually slow down and have a relationship.
That's right.
Because they're gonna continue to pay you, and that's what you're there for. So it's like, oh yeah, call in anytime, and then it's not this whole like, oh, turn and burn. So I don't care if you're working with somebody and if they're commission based or whatever they say. Like, I don't care how good the person is. I feel like, I'll say this about Philip. Like, Philip has this like heart of gold, but like, if he has to feed his family,
that's right,
and he has nothing coming in next year, he's got like he can't talk to you. He has to go find new people.
Right.
He can't help you.
Right. And it's so easy to get caught up in the commission world of getting paid up front. And what then you find is that you have to continue to go out and get new clients. And what ends up happening is you have a lot of clients at the end of the day, but none of them are really paying you anymore, because you've taken that commission up front. And so you have to keep, this is my analogy, you have to keep bringing in like people into your pen, and you don't have any fence on that. Like, they just and you kind of want them to go out, but that is totally uninlined with how we think, because I want to keep having a relationship with people. And so I keep reaching out to people, and like business wise, it's like, it makes no sense. Like, they're not paying you anything, but that's not their fault for our decisions that maybe we did in the past. No, we need to just build it in a different way. And so that's how we build it. But I do think that it poses a problem for any person that wants to come into this industry, because the margins are so small and expenses are pretty high. So if they want to really provide for their family, how does one do it? And so lies the rub when somebody comes into the industry. So I know like other companies who are building a business like us, which is trail based, they'll just say, here's your salary. You don't have to do anything. Here's your salary. This is how you help the team. And then as you grow and get clients and that residual comes to your salary, then you kind of switch over into like, okay, now you can get a percentage of the commission or the trails that you're getting. So, but the margins are so small. And so think about this from just any other business. Let's say you're a painter. I'm just making this up. The problem with painting is that you have to continue to go paint rooms. And hopefully by the time you're 10 years in the business, you've painted so many rooms that there's now they need, and they had such a good relationship with you or had such a good experience with you, they need another room in their house painted. And that's the most residual that you can get, is just good word of mouth. You had a great experience with them and they would always use you when they're ready to paint. That's really the only residual component of it. But the end of the day, you just got to wake up in the morning and you got to go paint more houses or go paint more rooms, which normally requires brand new clients coming in.
Yep.
Where with us, like we can have the same 200 clients and doing it trail based, we don't have to get any more new clients. We can just serve these people as well as we can because we know that they're paying our expenses. So we don't have to need to go out to go get new clients. Let's say they come in, we can totally serve them, but it's not something that's like drastic. We got to go get it. We got to go get it. We got to go get it. We got to go stressful. And it gives me anxiety. So that's, I think, just a way to just peel back what in the world is financial services? How would you build a practice? And how is Uncommon Wealth, what is your DNA? How are you trying to grow it? What have you done in the past? Like I'll say in the past, we have not done a good job of like, hey, we need to be trail-based oriented. I've always known that that's kind of my bend. But early on, I mean, this is 10 years ago, I just, you have to get paid. How do you do that? I would still say I will sacrifice all day for myself in order for the clients to get the best service. That now is unified. Both Aaron and I are that way. And there is nothing that's going to change our mind. That's why we're going to build Uncommon Wealth from here on out. And I am so grateful that that's, you're in line with that. I think our whole team is in line with that. But our clients are feeling that as well. It's just, man, you guys serve well. And well, that's what our job is, right? Like,
yeah.
We got to do that.
A big difference, it's funny as we're having this, talking about this, it hit me. We get hit up so much for lead generation stuff.
Yes. Yes.
And it's funny because when you don't need to go get more clients, you don't need to go sell another life insurance policy. You don't need to sell another annuity or something like that.
Yeah.
The income's there. Our conversations when we sit down are not like, okay, how are we going to get more clients? It's hey guys, we got our clients. What can we do to improve ourselves to better serve our clients? Because I know this is your motto, this is my motto, but like, if you are a client of ours and listening, then this goes with you. But if you're picking an advisor, this is a good question to ask. But like, I tell my clients, like, we should not be the same advisor I was last year. I should not be the same advisor I was 5 years ago. If I am, please fire me because that means I didn't get better.
Right. And when you're constantly trying to get new clients, it's hard to become better. Yeah. You're just trying to go get the new client. Maybe you're being better as a salesman, but are you actually being better to serve your clients that you currently have? The model that is trail-based allows you to work on yourself to be able to serve the people inside your practice better. The commission-based upfront commission is only allowing you to be a better salesman. Yes. You need to continue to go get new clients because you're just painting rooms after rooms after rooms. And there's no residual base to it. What I will say is when you do this right and you fast forward your practice 5, 7, 10 years, you have a practice that you would not believe the amount of growth that not only your clients are getting, but you in the business and then your employees, and you can serve other people more. It's bananas. Why is that? It's because there's a thing called compounding interest that works really well. And so the same principles that we, I guess, instill and try to push into our clients are the same principles that we're building this practice with. Hey, you got to live underneath your means. You have to be good stewards of what you have. And then you have to be excited about what you do every day. There you go.
Which is, when we're talking about this, it's so funny because I know this is a touchy subject if you're a financial advisor because, you get into the business and you're like, oh, gross, all these other companies.
Yeah. Right.
But like, it's funny, these big companies that bring on new advisors, they do this. They like make you try to grow a practice the hardest way, like by commission based, all that stuff. And it makes it sound like they don't want these big advisors to have like built up this like really nice book of reoccurring, but they love them. They'd love to take one of those on because then it's like, oh, look at what they're producing. They're so profitable. Yeah. But you're not as profitable in the beginning, just as like it's a really hard way to grow. It's slower, it's harder. Right. And like, so you're a lot less like profitable. But at the end, they want to win at the end with you, but no, like they don't want to take you on during the journey.
It's great.
And
this is something that I learned in pharmaceuticals. Remember my old life in pharmaceuticals?
Oh yeah.
Is that pharmaceutical companies were for-profit company. They were teaching me in order to go talk to the doctor that was going to be beneficial for who? pharmaceutical company. Yeah, they were trying to get a return on Philip. And what I realized fairly quickly is like, even if the best thing for the patient was to eat healthy and exercise, that's not really what the pharmaceutical company that was training me really wanted. They wanted to be like, here's a magical pill. They wanted me to tell the doctor, to tell all your patients, this is a magical pill. And so I feel like financial services are fairly same. Like, you're talking about big companies and they are for profit. Believe that.
Oh, yeah.
And what they're teaching their advisors to do is to go make themselves more money. So you can't tell me that sometimes what they're asking you to do is for the best thing for the client. Maybe it magically is for some percentage of the population because it's a product, right? Like, they see a need. It fits some people. It doesn't fit everybody. And so these big companies are training advisors to go talk to their family and friends and try to get as many things done as possible. They don't really want you to be like, oh, well, start a Roth IRA and help them, put $6,000, $7,000 in every month or every year. They really kind of want you to sell a life insurance and, oh, listen, we'll incentivize you because we'll give you more commissions. And so there's a very thin line with a lot of these advisors just got trained from these big companies that are, and they really do feel like, oh, this is the best thing. But is it the best time to get trained by somebody who's going to be beneficially, like if you sell what they want? Like, I don't know. Like, that's where I was like, there's got to be a better way. And
and you did like you. So you figured, because you're older, you've been in the business longer than I have. But this is like a biggest thing I thought was a big tell about you when I was coming on to Uncommon. So, I mean, I was weathered. Like, what was I? So I was going on my 10th year. I'm on my second year, I think, here, or whatever.
Yep.
So I've been in the business for like 7 years prior to coming over.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about payouts and stuff in my book. So my book was going to come over. And you gave me very generous. You're like, no, I need you to be successful. And I was like, well, I know, but like, you need to make money too. Because where I was coming before, it's all about the bottom line. Like, I need to make money off of you.
Yeah.
And you were like, no. Like, look, it doesn't do me any good if you fail.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
And so it's like, it's like, so I need you to be successful if you're going to be any help to me at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, wow. Okay. Which granted, like, that was easy. Like, I mean, my book came over and paid for myself, and it was a big blessing to my family and stuff. But for these other big companies, they don't care about the advisor's success. No. They benefit no matter what. You go sell one policy, two policies, they benefit. Advisor quits. They don't care if they're still happy.
Yeah.
Now, if you're this, Philip Ramsey rock star that has like amazing relationships with tons of people, they're like, cool, that's awesome too. But for these, but when like you're with a small company, like, like Uncommon Wealth Partners, there is no win unless you win. Like, unless the advisor wins. The advisor does not win, does not go out and serve people very well and keep people happy by serving them well. Then, because if they leave, Uncommon falls.
Oh man. Yeah, it doesn't help. Like, we have more clients that we have to go serve, and we have one less person to go serve those clients. So as a company, Uncommon Wealth, I would happily sacrifice the bottom line to be able to serve not only your family, yours specifically, but also other families, to be able to kind of get them on this whole uncommon path. And then here's another thing too that's super fascinating, because when I got to Principal, this was their tagline: 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Or yeah, that's right. 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. And this is their tagline. Here's why. Because they were trying to tell me, hey, Philip, you don't know anything about this industry. So what you should do is partner with a more senior advisor and have them come to all of your family and friends, because they know how to sell better than you would ever do, because you've just got into the industry, which is kind of true. I give it to me. So then they would have, let's say John comes to my in-laws and starts, oh, this is what you need. We need life insurance, this, that, and the other. And then we get a big commission. Well, I get 50% of that. And John gets the other 50% because he helped me close the deal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the deal though. That transaction only suffocates me at the end, because John doesn't really teach me how to sell it or why we're selling it. He just sells it and says, "Oh, it's a great training for you." Only if I dissect the training and ask him a lot of questions would I actually learn something, because they don't really want me to learn much. They want me to take me to the next client and the next client, and then I'm getting trained, which maybe I am kind of, but John really doesn't have an incentive to train me too much, because
he's making way more off that policy than you are.
He truly is. And here's another thing, that this is the reason why that whole interaction doesn't work, because John doesn't take me to his clients. Nope. John doesn't take me to his new opportunities. No. He can do that on his own. He doesn't need me. Why would he give me 50% of his transactions? No. He'll just take 50% of your transactions and we'll call it training. Like, that's an expensive training opportunity. And so
to make it, for our listeners, this is how it gets even more expensive, because, let's say Philip gets 50% of the premium, but he has a payout, and his payout's 50%. Well, that person taking him out, training him, gets a payout from his percentage. So it's like, so really Philip's only getting 50% of the 50%, and then 25% is going to that trainer. So he's making even more.
Right. Let me try to explain this. So let's just say Philip sells a life insurance policy and the commission is $6,000. Well, there is a percentage that the house takes in order to train you, to have people do the paperwork, to have the office staff. So let's say we really only get 50% of that $6,000. Okay. So now the agents are really only getting $3,000, and they cloud this with like, oh, here's all the different ways you get it. It's just super complicated. And then John gets 50% of the 3,000. So that's what you're saying, just in a different way. So I really only got $1,500. And that's why you just need to keep going to talk to people. And that inherently, I think, is the problem, because Principal was telling me what's going to be beneficial for them and trying to help me pay my bills. And it's just a conflict of interest, I think, in a major way. And I'm not saying that trail-based, you can't have conflict of interest either, hear that. But I think this gives you a good understanding of, one, why we've chosen to do like trail-based residual things. And we don't love annuities, but annuities are a great way for people to get an upfront commission. Even if we ever find an opportunity, that once in a blue moon where an annuity works, we will pick the trail-based. We want to have a small percentage for as long as we have the relationship. That's how we're building Uncommon Wealth Partners. And we hope that we blink and in 10 years, we don't even understand how big this thing got, just because we did the right thing for our clients now, and we're going to continue to do it in the future. It takes a very uncommon perspective. It takes a very unique person to build a practice that way. That's why I don't think there's a lot of people out there that do that, although they are getting bigger and bigger because they're starting to see just the power of it.
Yeah, they're realizing it. So that's why, like, for listeners, if you're younger, or if you're shopping for a financial advisor, like, a good, unique, uncommon question to ask the firm that you're at is like, what's the system of you bringing someone on? Like, how much money do you make off that person in the first 5 years? Like, because that will show you, because the good firms are like Philip and stuff, where they're going to over pour into somebody. They're probably not going to make much money off that person in the first 5 years, because it's like, I need that person to be successful.
Right.
Whereas
keep going.
Go ahead.
Keep going.
No, I was going to say, like, the other firms, they're going to try to squeeze everything they can out of that person, because one, the fail rate in this industry is extremely high. It's in the 90 percentile.
Extremely high, for reasons we've already stated.
Yeah. So then, like, they got to make their money there. And then, so they're already assuming you're going to fail and quit. So they got to make their ROI on you in that first couple of years.
Right.
But, like, whereas it's very uncommon, and they're out there. We know them because you're attracted to, we have to, like, brainstorm with other advisors. We don't know everything. But, like, it's just like, if you're not successful in 5 years, that's my fault. Or maybe it wasn't a good fit, and that's fine. We'll cut ways. But, like, I never want you to think that, like, we took money from you.
That's true. Okay, here's another thing too. We've had to really dissect the way we get paid, because there's sometimes where, like, some of these accounts that you have might be your only opportunity to pool money in order for you to chase something that you're excited about.
Yeah.
So we do a financial planning fee, kind of an onboarding fee for people, because we don't want to be those advisors who are like, well, what's in your wallet? How much do you have in your pay? Like, how much can we manage all this stuff? Stop. Like, we care about you. That being said, we are running a business. So what is the business model that is aligned with how we think? We believe that a financial planning fee is a perfect tool for us to be able to be as, neutral as possible when we give you advice. Hey, you can take all of your money to your brother-in-law to manage it. We're okay with that, right? Like, we already got paid for our financial plan that we just gave you that you're excited about. Go take it to somewhere else at your roadmap to help you get there. That's fine. Although when we do it this way, a lot more people were like, well, now we want you to help us with, manage our money, which obviously we get paid a small bit of time, over every year. That's how we'll structure it. But we'll walk through all of that with our clients beforehand. But that was the reason why we started with this financial planning model. A lot of people just say, we can't help you unless you have $250,000 that we can manage. And that didn't feel right for Aaron and I.
Or what they'll do is like, they're like, oh, we don't charge for a financial plan. We'll just give you a financial plan.
Yeah.
And that sounds great.
Yeah.
But for the folks listening, there's a lot of time that goes into that.
Yeah.
And so after they present you this nice financial plan, you're like, oh, that's amazing. Well, you know what? They're going to try to get their return on that now. They're going to push you. They're going to be calling you, waiting for you to make a decision. Are you going to, will you let me manage that account? Will you let me manage that account? Or it's like, buy this policy, buy this. It's like, where ours, like me and Philip share this value. It's like, because, maybe you don't like our plan that we put together, and you get to the end of it and you're like, I don't think I'm a good fit. Well, we can cut ties. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's just like there's a lot going on in your life at the moment. And so you can't implement anything in the plan. You really like the plan, but can't implement. You know what? You're not going to hear us pounding down your door.
Yeah. Right.
We're good.
I have a conversation with a gentleman this afternoon that we haven't talked for 4 years after we did the plan. 3 years, I think. No, that's not true. 2 years. Sorry. That went from 4 to 2. I get it. And he come back like, okay, there's something that changed. I had the plan. Now we need to talk through it. Like, no problem. So that's I guess the fluidity that we try to think. There's another thing that came out of this that I feel like I want to talk about, is so no one in our company has a non-compete. Nobody.
Oh yeah.
Like, Aaron, you can leave whenever you want.
Yep.
And I tell him, like, if you do, I got a couple clients I want you to bring with you. Not because I don't love them. It's just because I want to be a great person to serve the clients. And I know there's kind of a magical number that I can only serve. There's only so many time an hour of the day. I just know that we probably have an overabundance of clients, and I really care about each one of our clients. But the non-compete is very, very different and very uncommon in this industry. A lot of times, like, they'll say, like, no, you need to sign here. We don't have that on Commonwealth Partners. At any moment, if Aaron's like, this isn't feeling, or I have a better opportunity, Aaron can go right away. Like, and even the clients that like maybe were brought to him by Uncommonwealth Partners, I hope that he continues to serve them. Take them as well, because they're used to you, they like you. Like, my biggest focus in that reason for not having a non-compete is like, I want to serve Aaron and Aaron's family as best as I can while he's here. And I want to create an environment that he's excited to be here, that he feels like he's a partner and he's really helping go to the direction of the overall mission. And then if something ever changes, we can have a conversation. And that, I think, is something that I would love to hear. And not a lot of people know that. So this is probably the first time some of our 7 listeners can listen to that. We don't have a non-compete. And I love that. And I want to continue to grow a business in that manner where we're trying to serve not only the clients, but our people that are kind of advancing the mission of Uncommonwealth Partners.
Yeah, I think that was amazing because, like, it's funny. I remember when we sat down and talked, because, like, when we sat down and talked, the intention, like, we've talked about this in past podcasts, but, like, it was not the intention to come over. I was just seeking some help and guidance.
Yeah.
Because you were quirky and different, and you'd grown your practice, and so, anyways, when it came to the conversation about coming over, when it came up, and I was like, well, okay, like, but I had looked at a couple other firms at the time, but all of them said, like, they were going to take my book.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, my book gets absolved by the firm, and then they give me the salary or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, these are my clients. I'm like, well, yeah, but I mean, you still serve them, but they're ours. Like, we're kind of purchasing them from you. It's like, no. Like, if this doesn't work out, my clients are coming with me. It's like, no, you can't do that. And it's like, well, I don't like that. Like, these are the people that have entrusted me, and, like, I've been working with. They're mine. And I remember telling you that like this at the time because I'd gotten that answer so many times.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, of course, they're yours. And then you did. You said like, I got a few more I need to send with you too. And you're just like, okay. Like at the time, it's like a comment. You get to know Philip. It's like, he's not lying.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's like, no, your clients are your clients. I'm like, oh, wow. Because that was a big deal breaker for me. Like, I was like, I'm not giving up.
As it should be, by the way.
Yeah.
Because never once, and this happened at Principal for this exact specific thing. I left Principal and they called every one of the clients that I got them into a product and were like, Philip went rogue. We want to be your new advisor. And all of the people that I have a relationship with were like, no, that's not what happened. So it didn't go well for them. And I just don't feel like that's going to go well for anybody else. Like, let's say Aaron goes and I call all of his clients like, hey, we want to retain you. Stop the madness. Like, how can we help? And that to me doesn't make the client feel like you're serving them when you're calling them saying that their advisor went rogue. It's almost just pointing out the obvious that you're in it for yourself. Okay. We've talked.
That's so funny. I think it's so funny that people call on that like real quick. It's like, because one of those things like where I was at before, they were great, but they didn't call my clients because it's kind of one of those things like we're not calling Aaron's clients like because they like Aaron. Aaron's not getting out of the business.
That's right.
It's gonna be a waste of time.
Yeah. It really was for them.
Yeah. So, I don't know. So if you're picking up clients from somebody else leaving, you're picking up the ones that like either they didn't get along well or they're, so it's interesting, but yeah.
Yeah. So that's a little bit about the industry. It's kind of behind the veil, if you will. It's a little bit about our company, how we're building it. We hope that this gets you excited. We hope this kind of prompts some questions for you when you're looking for advisors or you have your current advisors. How do they build their business? How are they managing? What is their background? What is their behind the curtain kind of will? We're authentic enough to talk about it in the podcast. So we hope this was encouraging for you. We hope this kind of helps you go down this uncommon path yourself. You've been listening to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. I've been your host, Philip Ramsey.
And I'm Aaron Kramer.
Till next time, go be uncommon. Thanks for listening.
That's all for this episode, brought to you by Uncommon Wealth Partners. Be sure to visit uncommonwealth.com to learn more about our services. Don't miss an episode as we introduce you to inspiring people who are actively pursuing an uncommon life.